as a report has been given by Mark Williams Thomas that the missing Jay Slater had taken a £12,000 Rolex and was scared for leaving the Tenerife Airbnb. We all take a look at the evidence and facts that we found. Hi there, and thank you for all joining me in another video that just gone viral. In this video we take a look at Mark Williams Thomas's latest interview release and ask the question why this information is only released now and not right at the very beginning. I did make people aware that if Mark Williams Thomas became involved, then you should be concerned and leave you with a lot more questions. It seems that whenever the case seems to be on public TV and in the public eye, that Mark Williams Thomas is always on the scene. And as the days fall into weeks, I can't help but sit here and wonder whether this is the next Madeleine McCann case. So without a further delay, let's get straight into the video and digest, digress and dissect Mark Williams Thomas's latest interview.
And some of it has been very unfair and unkind to a family who right now are in total shock and despair. So please just think before you post, and if you would not say it to your loved one who's missing, then don't say it or post it now.
Right off the bat, Mark Williams Thomas comes out and starts attacking those that are free thinkers and want to think outside the box and not just accept the narrative. He likes to class these people as trolls, yet he never refers to the other mainstream media news outlets, who have also had conversations regarding theories and mysteries surrounding the Jay Slater missing case. Also, Mark refers in his interview that the friends and the family of Jay Slater have seen material on the internet surrounding theories and speculation about them. My question to them would be why are they so concerned with searching on the internet for certain material and comments made about them, when the only search they should be doing is in the mountain for their friend Jay Slater? Unfortunately for Mark Williams Thomas, there's further bad news, because people like myself will not stop making videos and not stop exposing what the truth is, backed up by visuals and evidence to provide to the public, rather than lead them down a dark path and tell them a narrative and a story without providing anything at all.
As is a way with this high-profile missing persons investigations, the public and the media want official information, and when this is void, they fill it themselves. I flew out to Tenerife on Monday the 24th, directly to help the family, using my team to help Jay's family get some clarity and answers.
At this point, it would be nice to have some sort of transparency, as in backed up claims by Mark Williams Thomas, via his search team or his colleagues. This could have been done via an interview or as a group interview, yet there is nothing. All we have to go on is Mark Williams Thomas's own claims and words. Yet this is the person who claims to be an investigator in the Nicola Bulley case. Yet from what I remember in the TV appearances, he didn't investigate anything at all. All he did is relay information that the public already knew, and just highlighted certain other details he added in to make out that the story that he'd found was unique and personal to himself. When it came to looking for footage or pictures of Mark Williams Thomas and his investigators who were looking for Jay Slater, I struggled to find anything. I thought maybe I'd missed something and he was referring to the Guardia Civil, or maybe the Mountain Rescue Spanish team. But maybe he was just referring to this team. Nobody.
My trip and investigation has been fully funded by myself. And many of you will have seen my statement I made on Wednesday afternoon, setting out the parameters and the focus of my investigation. I'm now back in the UK and have been in contact with Jay's family throughout and kept them updated constantly with the result of my ongoing investigation, making inquiries both in the UK and back in Tenerife.
Mark Williams Thomas claims that he has funded the trip entirely himself and that he has taken no money from the family whatsoever. But we were told by Debbie and also the mainstream media that the money from the GoFundMe money would be used to pay for an extensive and exclusive search team, as the money from the GoFundMe has not been used to pay for anybody else to search, which is why they asked for volunteers and only 6 turned up.
Jay's family were provided with my preliminary findings on Friday the 28th of June. I've spoken to lots of witnesses and have a clear picture now of what happened overnight of Sunday the 16th of June through to the morning of Monday the 17th of June. I'm now in a position to release some of that detail. I'm doing so given the massive interest in this case, mainly to provide some clarity and to clear up the total inaccuracies and misreporting of information which is neither helpful to the police, my investigation, nor, crucially, to the family.
So although the claims by Mark Williams Thomas that he's funded the trip himself entirely, this may be true, but did he get funded or paid any money by the family from the GoFundMe money for his actual appearance and being on TV to push the story? And if so, would be very interesting to know the amount. One thing that does stand out to me in this interview, throughout the whole way, is the way that Mark Williams Thomas is actually reading from a script, and this interview is completely scripted. It would be interesting to find out if Mark Williams Thomas had wrote this himself, or if someone else had. And the similarity between the Nicola Bulley case is uncanny, because just like Emma White, she had to do an interview and read from a script.
We know that shortly before 6 a.m. on Monday the 17th of June, Jay left the area of Veronica's Strip Las Americas in a Seat Leon hire car with two males casually known to him. Jay and a number of his friends had spent time with them both over the previous 2 days. All three males, including Jay, then travelled north via the main motorway, the TF1, to go to the two males' holiday rental Casa Abu Latina in Masca.
Yet again, these details have only come to light now. Why was it when Lucy May was interviewed she never gave the details about these two men? And even Brad, who was interviewed as well, who were both Jay Slater's friends, none of them mentioned these two men had met days before. There is only one problem here with Mark Williams Thomas's claims, that Jay Slater left with two men and went to the Casu Abutina in Masca, when his last known location was 8 o'clock that morning, at the Porcal Rural Destino. These two locations are actually at the same spot, and a Snapchat that was later released, with regards to someone wearing a gown off the bed, holding a cigarette pointing down towards their feet, we were told this was Jay Slater, yet I don't believe this was. If anything, I believe this was someone portraying and had Jay Slater's phone, pretending that Jay Slater was still around. The other strange fact and funny thing is, this apartment and the Airbnb where Jay Slater was, or supposedly was, holding a cigarette while taking the Snapchat, is an apartment that was booked for one night only for a couple. The person that booked this apartment was Lucy May. She was even stupid enough to leave a review behind. One thing we were never told about Jay Slater, and still to date, is where was he staying? What was the name of his hotel? Or was he staying in an apartment? There are never any pictures that have been produced, even such ones of the balcony, his accommodation, or where he was staying. The only fact that I can come to and believe is that Jay Slater was actually staying with Lucy May at the same apartment as the Snapchat was taken, and it did not actually belong to two males, but actually belonged to Lucy May,
which was about an hour's drive away. En route, Jay posted a Snapchat saying that he'd taken a £12,000 Rolex from a person. We have been unable to validate this in terms of a reported theft. However, friends of Jay said he would not make this up.
No, but they would. And why was there no word of a Rolex at the very beginning? It seems to me like the friends have been reading the material online and the theories and decided to push that agenda forwards, therefore trying to confirm people's speculation and put them off the actual real beaten track. And the image shown with regards to the Snapchat locations, I could knock that up on a computer in under 5 minutes. This doesn't prove anything.
And the watch was subject of later conversation between the friends. Not long after arriving at the rental, Jay around 7 a.m. had contact with various friends via social media, both inside and outside the rental. And during these calls, various videos chats were had and pictures sent, including the one he took on the doorstep that many of you will have seen. I am confident that that photograph on the doorstep is him, wearing a throw, a blanket from the apartment, and his black and green Air Max trainers.
If this was Jay supposedly in the picture with the feet holding the cigarette with the bedgown wrapped round them, then why would Jay need a bus to find his way back to his accommodation? He was already at it.
Which he had on the night that he went out. We know at around 8 a.m. there was a level of communication with the host of the rental property in which she communicated by hand digits to him that the bus was leaving at 10 a.m. from the bus stop right by the apartment, With this, Jay walked off, turning left and up the hill. We know that Jay used an Apple iPhone, and the Apple Maps takes you that route up the hill, walking back to Los Cristianos, where he was staying. Whilst on the walk, he talked to and messaged his friends. Whilst walking, Jay spoke to at least 3 people, telling them that he was lost, with little phone battery and without water. He was told to go back by 2 people to the rental. He said he could not do that, and that he'd already been walking 30 minutes, and that he was now off-road and was walking on a track where there were loose stones. We know that at 8:49 and at 8:50, Jay sent his location via both Snapchat and WhatsApp to 2 friends. We can confirm that it was Jay using his phone at that stage, and there was no indication that he was with anyone. The location is fixed by GPS, and we've done tests in the area, and it's accurate to 5 to 10 meters. The fixed point is the Barranco Joan Lopez hiking path, which fits the description given by the witnesses that spoke to him, stating that he was on a stony path and having walked 30 minutes from the rental apartment. From this point, no further contact is had with Jay because his phone battery dies. We've received information that would suggest that Jay left the rental property feeling scared, and he would not return to the rental, even though that would have been the most sensible course of action, and also where he could have charged his phone, got some water and made contact with friends. We continue to investigate this aspect. We have, however, ruled out hostage kidnapping situation because no credible ransom demand has been made. And we've no evidence at this stage to say there was a third-party criminal involvement in Jay's disappearance.
Yet again, more claims, but no evidence to support these claims. I find it very convenient that Jay Slater was scared and ran away from the apartment Airbnb. This is someone who was involved in a previous crime, using a machete, so I find this very hard to believe and swallow. So if Mark Williams Thomas claims that there was no third-party involvement in the disappearance of Jay Slater, and he has ruled this out, has he also ruled out the party of friends that were involved with the Jay Slater disappearance, or are they not a concern?
However, there are still a number of outstanding actions, and therefore we still remain open-minded to the possibility of this changing. The evidence is that Jay walked off from the rental, walked for about 30 minutes, and then sent his location at 08:49 and 08:50, and we know that he was at that stage off the road on a track with loose stones, and we have that fixed as a location on GPS. I now want to make an appeal for landowners in the area of Tino Rural Park to check any outbuildings and land that they have.
Where have we heard this before? Wasn't this the Nicola Bully case where Mark Williams Thomas was involved in that one as well?
My plea now is, personally, I want every house, every garage, every outbuilding, the land scrutinised. I want it all searched.
I've largely remained silent to date with our investigation, not giving any interviews, but have felt the need to make a statement now to clear up facts, which I've advised the family I would be doing. This has been done as I hope it will enable people to accept the evidential facts and thus reduce the number of and inaccurate reports and information that are being publicised and circulated. You will appreciate that as part of our investigation, we have spoken to a significant number of witnesses, both here in the UK and in Tenerife, including Jay's friends who are fully engaged with us. And as such, we've received a significant amount of both personal and sensitive information. We've even spoken to significant individuals in the drugs fraternity in Tenerife. Much of that information is highly sensitive, and so therefore we will not be releasing it.
Now Mark Williams Thomas is going to give us the impression that drug baron and drug lords are quite willing to speak and cooperate with an ex-Metropolitan Police officer. If you believe this, then you need to give your head a wobble. The only communication that would happen between Mark Williams Thomas and a drug lord or drug baron would be the question put to Mark Williams Thomas: would he want to be sleeping with the fishes?
We continue our investigation to try and find out what happened to Jay, and if you have any information, please either contact the police in Tenerife or you can contact us anonymously through the many forms of social media or through our hotline. Thank you.
Mark Williams Thomas's career is very wide and spanned. He's an ex-Metropolitan Police officer, but is now actually listed as a TV investigative journalist. His main income is from books and TV appearances, and that should tell you enough. At the end of the day, I don't think the input from Mark Williams Thomas has helped this case at all. His input seems to have only cast shade and doubt even further on this case, and where is missing Jay Slater? So despite Mark Williams Thomas's claims that he could find Jay Slater within 3 days and return back to the family important clues, it seems that he has drawn a close and his investigation is now over. And the results are nothing. So with that being said, I'm now going to produce to you the evidence that we have gathered and make your own mind up what you think happened to Jay Slater. Jay Slater attended the NRG festival and was last seen with Lucy May leaving together in the early hours of Monday the 17th of June 2024. Lucy then told us she had received a call from Jay Slater later that morning saying he was in a state of distress, but how exactly did Lucy leave before Jay, and yet failed to tell us how she made it back to the apartment via walking or taxi. Lucy also told us that Jay had cut himself and injured his leg on a cactus, but this was never ever since mentioned by anyone including Brad and Mark Williams Thomas in his report. Why was Brad only brought up later in the search for Jay Slater, nearly 2 weeks later, and then added more details and confusion? How did Mark Williams Thomas fail to investigate and tell the public that Jay Slater had 2 separate Facebook accounts and Lucy and Brad had 3? Why did Mark Williams Thomas never mention that Lucy and Brad are still friends with Jay's machete attack victim, Tom Hilton, on Facebook? Also, the explanation as to why Tom Hilton's friends, and so many of them, were at the NRG festival where Jay Slater was. Why were we told that Jay had left with 2 men he had met days previously to go to an Airbnb that they had booked, when the booking receipt and review was by Lucy May for a couple and for 1 night only? Why was there webcam streaming footage I was able to obtain from that night via means outside of the normal World Wide Web, where Lucy May can clearly be heard screaming and shouting Jay's name, indicating Jay was not injured by a cactus, but was via an assault being knifed in the leg? The Rolex reference. Another reference to Rolexes though, and many of you will know if you were party animals back in the 80s and 90s, is that Rolexes are another name for ecstasy tablets. Could it have been that Jay lost £11,000 worth of Rolexes ecstasy tablets? I guess we'll never know. Why did the family need so much money for a search that cost nothing? A key factor is the family did not attend any search parties or partake in their own. This money would have been more productive and produced more results and been better spent had it been offered as a reward money leading to the whereabouts of Jay Slater. What about the 2 young men that were seen on the beach in the early hours of the morning of the 17th or the 18th of June that were caught on another live web stream camera which was positioned on the top of the cliff face facing directly down onto the same beach? These 2 men were seen to be digging a hole and acting very suspicious. When I went to obtain this video outside of the usual web where I'd seen it and it had been put up, it was nowhere to be found and almost eradicated from the whole internet. It seems like the Nicola Bulley case where Mark Williams Thomas was also involved. I fear now that questions will never be answered. To end this video on a light note, I feel that the family of Jay Slater should have just instructed and paid this man in the search, Philip Schofield. After all, if anyone can find a young vulnerable teenage boy, it's him. Till next time, stay safe and take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.